Good afternoon. We will continue with the presentations of the first day of the workshop. We will invite Mr. Lucas Magalhaes to take his place at the table. Lucas is the innovation manager of Whirlpool.
Hello, good afternoon. Uh, First, I would like to thank you for the invitation to share with you our experience on PSS, even if inside the company we don't name it like that. But I'm currently working with innovation management for the last 3 years. Prior to that, I was in product development as an engineer. So I worked with materials engineering. I did some advanced development, system development. Then I moved into innovation management. And the link between this and the case that I'm going to show you is that both of the cases, they came from the innovation process that we use at Whirlpool. So just to give an overview, Whirlpool is a world leader in home appliance. We are in more than 130 countries, and we have almost 9 billion in revenue, almost 7,000 employees around the world. And here in Brazil, Whirlpool was formed by the reorganization of Multibras, that is the appliance part of it, with Embraco. That's the part of the company that produce compressors, hermetic compressors for domestic refrigeration, right? So Embraco is based in Joinville, that's in the south of Brazil, and is the worldwide leader for hermetic compressors, mainly focused on domestic refrigeration. And they are very integrated with university in the south of Brazil. They develop a lot of open innovation research together with the university, and the part that is responsible for the appliances we call Whirlpool Latin America. So we have a headquarters in São Paulo. That is where I stay, and there is the whole management. And we have some manufacturing plants in Rio Claro, Joinville, Manaus. But most important for us is the tech centers. The tech centers are in Joinville and Rio Claro, and most of the development that I'm going to show happened in Joinville between Embraco and Whirlpool and our tech center there, right? So different from our competitors like LG, Samsung, Haier, we are a company that has multiple brands. So we also have a brand leadership strategy. It's not just like product leadership, doing best products. We also have like this asset that's our brands, and we use them on a complementary strategy with the products. Here in Brazil, we have like very well-known brands that are Brastemp and Consul, and we are introducing KitchenAid, that's our premium global brand, mainly focused on kitchen appliances. So just very fast about the brands. Brastemp is one of the strongest brands in Brazil, very well-known, very recognized, and won as the most respected brand in Brazil for a survey conducted by Forbes. Top of mind, 6 years consecutive, and it's very strong, mainly in the washers market, right? And Consul is a more democratic brand. It's presenting 50% of the Brazilian market house, and they are very strong in refrigeration. It's mostly because they started in Joinville as very focused on refrigeration. So Brastemp began with washers. They are more remembered by washers, and Consul with refrigeration. So they are more remembered for that. And The innovation process. We had a chairman, David Whitman, that in 2000 he forged the expression sea of white to represent the commoditization that the industry was going through. And basically the effect of that was like the average price or the ticket by appliance was going down, and the growth was getting steady with the industry, right? So he forged this expression, that sea of white, to represent that we needed to innovate, to find out different ways of growing. And they put together a global innovation effort. They nominated Nancy Tennant as our global innovation VP, and they did a partnership with Strategos Consulting, that is that was founded for Gary Hamel. They could help us in all the regions. That was one need. We needed a consultant team that could help us on innovation at the same time all the regions. So we put together a team of people that work for 1 month or 1 to 3 months specifically on the process structure brought from Strategos inside Whirlpool, and identifying innovation opportunities that we called beyond the core. So not on proper appliance, but on the opportunities that were further than the conventional business that we had at that time. This group had very high sponsorship because they were directly linked with the senior management, and they were like in a continual reviews to identify and operationalize the projects that I'm going to show. So it started with this clear definition, what is innovation for Whirlpool. So unique and compelling solutions, this is the consumer part of it. Then sustainable competitive advantage and differentiated shareholder value. So you have to generate unique and compelling, but also to meet the 2 criteria that are more linked with the business, right? And with the process, I'm going to show how this process deployed the water purifier business models, but basically is a design thinking approach combined with a stage gate part of it that happens between this second and the third diamond, right? So going to the water purification case and how we did it, how we concepted that as a service, right? In 2000, this cross-functional team, they come up with a series of opportunities from business, from service, from different kinds of solutions. Some of them were inside our current business, some of them were outside. And then our process, it groups the opportunity into a domain or a region of common opportunities. And the one that had the water purifier business was called Eco House, because it represented the idea of a whole sustainable house with all the cycles being managed in an intelligent way. So there were different value propositions. One of them, it was the water purifier as a service. So that we could provide pure water to the consumer without proper product itself. We needed the product, but as a service. We're going to be responsible for delivering and managing the water inside the house. So from that point, we selected this opportunity. It took almost 1 year to come to what we call like opportunity business plan approval. That was when you demonstrate to the leadership all the perspectives of earnings and what you need to deploy in a project, right? And in this period here that is represented as an experiment, we did a prototype and we tested in real houses. So we bought a standard purifier from other regions of the world that they had like more, more advanced purifying systems than what we had in Brazil, and we installed that in the house and tested the business model. So it took like 6 months to 1 year to finish this whole test, but since the beginning, we could notice that it was a good opportunity, so we started with the product development itself in this project execution phase, and it took about like 2 years, 1.5 years to launch the water business in Brazil. So the idea generation process, usually we want to crash different points of view. So one trend it was that we noticed that people was willing to accept the idea of renting or not buying something, but having the benefit of using it for a fee. So in the future, consumers would be more open to this idea. And as a consumer need, we know that like water is essential need for the body, and that it's a resource that is difficult to management. So we need that it was a natural need for the house and for the consumer life. And the market opportunities that like water purifiers, they existed in Brazil at that time, but they were sold. They were like, they had this problem that after some time you don't know if the filter is clean, if you have to change it. You don't know if the quality of your water is okay. So it has a natural need of maintenance that make it suitable for the idea of transforming it in a service. So here, just to describe our solution, but it's pretty standard. It starts with a contact between us and the consumer. We had to develop a direct sales channel, and then the consumer receives a subscription proposal with the details for fees and services and the products. And if it's accepted, we go to a home visit. In Brazil, we have it's a difficult scenario because the water, the hydraulic system of the house, it's a very, they are very not, like I said, we don't have a standard for it. So the water condition can be very different, even in the same region. So when our technician goes to the house, he does an inspection and say if there is something that has to be done prior to the installation of the appliance, right? Then we install the appliance, all the costs are included on the renting fee, and every 6 months or when it's needed, if it's less than 6 months, the consumer can call, or if they complain, we go in and do a maintenance. If they need replacement parts like filters or even like aesthetic parts of the products, they are exchanged every maintenance. And in the end of the life, what is happening in the near future, we collect the product, we disassemble. If it's possible to reuse or let's say like remanufacture the product we do. If it's not, we destinate the parts to recycling or scrapping. And in the end, what we want is to establish this relationship with the consumer. So it's not just providing water, but also being able to be inside of the house and be as a brand starting to develop more closer relationship in a more frequent way than just selling a product, right? And like at that time, we had these water solutions that were based on these gallons, plastic gallons that were like difficult. The logistics was difficult, and also they had some doubts about the quality of the water because you never know who filled it. So we saw that we could have a very interesting solution because we had like cooling, a high flow rate, so much higher than the conventional filters. period, we developed one system that it is still today one of the most efficient systems for water filtering in Brazil. And also the service part of it, it could give the worry-free for the consumer. So you have no more worries about the water and the quality of it, right? So at that time, we had this vision that we needed to be in all the capital. So we need this scale, mainly because we want to prove that the model could work, and because we need a sufficient base to test the whole business model and the whole operation. If we stay just in São Paulo or in Rio, we could not develop the whole capability to work it as a business for the Latin America operation. So today we have like 2 models, and we are launching a 3rd model right now. The first model, it was like a simpler design with and without cooling, and different fees. They vary about like $5 one from another. It's like $15–20 the without cooling, and $25 the cooling option. And then we noticed that one specific market, like companies and places where people were exposed to the product, but they were not the owner of the product. So if you go to a shopping place or a company, a bank, and you go to the product, when you see this second version, it's more like beautiful, it's more like desirable, so make people more interested, and they also trust on the quality more than the previous model. And we did also an option of automatic dosage, so 1 liter, 2 liters, you could like program, so make filling easier, right? So the main challenge for us as a company, first was the mindset. We grew from a scenario where we were mainly a manufacturer. In the past, we used to buy the project from other companies in Europe or North America. So we grew from this manufacturing to product development phase, and we faced the need to evolve into service. So for us, the closer thing that we had was like a consumer service, like post-selling service. And we had to develop this mindset. Like product development, we didn't have like filtering technology or this whole biological understanding of the way the parts are affected by water and how we need to project the product for the hydraulic system. And also capability development. Like for us, this direct sales, a different channel, having to manage this asset through the whole life cycle, consumer relationship management, and of course, like financials, because we were changing the revenue model. For us, we were used to invest a huge amount of CapEx in a specific moment, and then we sell products and get revenue in a short term. This model is based on investing into a set that it's gonna have less return in the short term, but it is gonna produce a recurrent revenue and a higher profit in the end of their life. So it's a long-term view of the revenue model. And some critical success factors that I can map is like we had like high sponsorship. So at that moment, they were decided to do this change, and the senior leadership, they did very close follow-up on all the development, what make possible to have the flexibility and also to take decisions in a faster manner to guarantee the success in the market. The robust innovation process, Every time you do something different, it's very important to have this framework that tells you where you are and what you have to do. The business unit creation, we knew that at that time, if we put this business together with the current organizational structure, we knew that people would tend to give more importance to what were easier. So we created a whole independent division to manage the water business. And the partnerships, we had like some suppliers working with us, and we had a very close company developing the filtering system. We didn't have that knowledge, so we did this partnership with a company that were specialized in filtering technologies. So results, what we can say today. Today we are still the only one in the market that offers water purification as a service for domestic use. We have some competitors on the commercial or industrial business, but for domestic use, we are still the only one in the market. We see that during the process, we developed knowledge and capabilities that are helping us in other businesses that we have today, and also that it's very difficult to enter in this market because you need a lot of money to invest in the assets and in the operations. So we see that it's very difficult to our competitors to starting from the scratch. They can, but it's very difficult, and it's a huge entrance barrier. And value creation. Today, the water business, it gives us like twice the profit we have for our core business, and the growth rates are much higher. It's like 2 times higher than a normal business. And then, so this is like water purification, and it's like in the last 12 years, it established itself as an important business for us, and inside of it, it grew. Different people established a marketing team, and they start to think, so what's next? So they went back to the innovation process, and they did it again, and they come up with this idea that's all-in-one beverage platform. So similar to Nespresso, but it does different drinks, virtually all the drinks that you could have in your refrigerator that are not alcoholic, right? So we launched that in 2015. It pretty much, it's a better purifier because to do a beverage, you need a very specific quality and standardized water. So we improved the purifier, and then we added some systems that can heat the water, cold the water, or gasified it, and it does like more than 20 types of beverages. So we have like natural, mixed water, cold water, hot water, gasified, and when you put a capsule on the product, it identifies the recipe that it has to do and prepare the beverage in just one touch, just one button. So it's very easy, and at the same time, for us, it was a huge challenge to understand this usability and how we would deliver the final solution, because we had a challenge that was a bit different from Nespresso. That's like the beverages are very different from each other when you go to the mixture, right? So just an overview. We improved the control system because now it had to control like cooling, boiler, and gasifying at the same time. So you have to assure that when the consumer wants to produce a specific type of beverage, it will have like water in the specific condition. So we have a specific filtering system to improve the quality of water, and the whole beverage capsule system that were developed together with our partner. So we have more than 20 types: juice, nectars, soft drinks, iced teas, hot teas, coffee, smooth, energy drinks, and non-alcoholic drinks, right? One of the important part of it, it's the value proposition is very specific, very direct to a premium segment of the market. So we improved the whole product experience. So materials, shape, sound, lighting, everything was designed to give this premium look and to make the product more quality sensible, right? And about the business model, it's a little different from the water purifier because this one's not for rent. We sell the product, but it's like getting into a club. When you buy the product, you get access to different kinds of services. Some of them are charged, some of them are not. And after that, you have the supply of the consumable. So you need to buy the capsules, you need to buy a gas cylinder after some time, and the filter has to be exchanged. So we have this idea in the future to move to a more a pay-per-use or say a prepaid packages, but now it's on demand. So consumer goes on the website and orders what they need. And the idea is so the consumable parts to get this link and to start, we see this platform as a much higher potential to develop relationship with our consumer because we're gonna know and we can then come up with new business opportunity based on information. We're gonna know what they buy, what they the kind of flavors. We can discuss new flavors with them, and maybe develop different foods. We say, I'm gonna show you. We say soup or different kind of smoothies. We see that we have different opportunities, and the main idea behind the concept is the freedom. Because today, if the consumer they buy a 2 liters bottle, they have to drink until the end. And in a house that we have for persons, they all will have to drink the same drink. So the idea is with the capsules, everyone can choose what they want to drink at any time. So the idea behind it is really to have freedom on what you want to drink. So just very fast, it started in November of 2011 in a fair where we met Bevis, that is the company that has the technology for the capsule. The capsule is squeezed. It's not the same system that we have in Nespresso where they perforate the capsules. And then we went to a prototyping testing, and the first functional prototype was in 2014. And then we launched the product, but it stayed for almost 1 year in a testing phase with 250 people that were not from the company. It were selected people in São Paulo city to test the product and the whole consumable supply system and selling system. After that, we negotiate a joint venture with Ambev because we knew that we were not a beverage company, so we need the recipes and the brands from the beverage. So today we have this joint venture with Ambev. It's a separate company. All the employees are under B-Blend, and they don't work for Whirlpool anymore. But the engineering is from Whirlpool. We supply this service for them, right? And last year in May, we opened it to sales with the Guaraná Antártica flavor that is one very important soft drink for Brazilians. So mainly the competitive advantage around the machine is on IP. We were very confident on the work developed by the Embraco and the other companies on the systems, and the challenge behind it was how to integrate all the systems like heating, cooling, gasify system, filtering in one small product that could be acceptable at the domestic environment. So here, just very fast, the partnership. So Embraco is from our group, but because they supply for our competitors, we have this separate relationship with them. So they develop the cooling unit and the gasifying unit, and Ambev with the beverage portfolio, and Bevs they have the technology from the capsule and they produce the capsules for us, right? In the future, we also, of course, we are discussing the importance and the opportunities of IoT to this business. We are discussing the opportunity to be B2B, not B2C, and we have ideas to improve, like maybe different drinks, like alcoholic drinks, like different kind of food that we could produce. Today, they say like milk, soups, and this kind of liquid food, if we could say. And also producing ice, gasifying, different kinds of water treatments that we could deploy. And that was it. Thank you.